a while. If you have any questions, put your questions in the comment box, and we'll try and look into that. So, yeah, let's do this. Putting myself on mute. Okay, I will be discussing about a very brief understanding here of the tagging part of what can be utilized in terms of developing smart contracts around a business process. So, okay, I think we talked about this earlier, so this is more of a refresher in terms of the understanding. That is G0630/0201, market modeling, market analysis, and perhaps collecting market data. So, market data itself can be of three types: primary, secondary, and tertiary. The most important input data set is the primary data set, which itself has to be understood in multiple ways. Um, in this particular case or understanding, let's understand from the standpoint view of defining a business model. And it could be an MVP, but when we are doing smart contracts, we don't look into MVPs. We just identify small events, and we draft smart contracts around the same. This is not on Ethereum. This is simply on the Impala network, and we see the results, and the results are quite good. Now, what we are using as a matrix or as a data set is the performance data value or performance value data. For the longest time, it has been color coded or it has been numerical in nature. However, we are still trying to identify this, because if we go back on the timeline, particularly the timeline of 1970 to 1985, you would be seeing that any question format was not how the derivation of the answer has been. The question format always has been to understand the equation and then do what it takes to get the output. So that is where we are going back on the timeline of the understanding of the business models on the smart contracts. A lot of Web 3.0 applications are actually closing down because they didn't even understand at the first place as to what Web 3.0 was all about. So, what we are trying to achieve and what we have achieved this year has been a great insight on the primary data set, and particularly from the viewpoint of carbon credits. Then keeping the understanding the human capacity building, because with these subsets itself, that builds the enterprise as a whole. And we are operating the enterprise level understanding of how the business model itself could be the sister concern and the spin-off from the multiple aspects. Then we already discussed of two end of the spectrums, At the one end we have the monitoring part, the second end is the control part, and in the middle somewhere we are trying to understand the neutrality of how the communication network should work. Then we have actual performance value. Again, I'm not a very big fan on numbers to value the performance, but the steps which are taken to, or the understanding of the steps of the input data for the benchmark performance. And then you can obviously modify your business model based on the comparisons. However, try not with any existing business model. That is, should be the mantra of delivering anything in Web 3.0, perhaps with the utilization of the smart contracts and the blockchain. Um, okay, let's see if we have something here to discuss. Governance is an important part, the regulation part, because technology would have some kind of disputes, and in disputes itself we have, I think I have to get into details as to the understanding of two main phrases. One is the technical know-how and the other is know-how. What's the difference between technical know-how and the know-how on the end of the spectrum? So these are, perhaps it can be utilized in the broadest possible way, like a broad spectrum stuff. However, at one end of the spectrum, we have the databases. At the other end of the spectrum, we are still trying to understand the serverless understanding as to how it can be augmented and perhaps understood with the utilization of using less water and without electricity, but utilizing the resources which are at hand. Because um, using solar power itself comes with a lot of onus in terms of using silicon duping and stuff. That itself leads to couple of major challenges once it is deployed at a larger scale. So that is something we need to look into. Then, okay, let's see if I wish to discuss this. I don't want to get into the CRM models. These are very well established ones. There are some things which should not be changed, because let some of the cores be the core and then, work around it, and perhaps um, develop trade secret protocols. Those are more important than anything else in 2025 and beyond. Okay, this is done. I'm not getting into this. This is a very simple stuff we have been doing for the longest time. Let me. Okay, I'll talk about the tokenization, a little bit about the tokenization. Um, so when we're trying to understand the tokenization, let's talk about the tagging part here. The tagging here is G06Q30/018. You can always connect with me and we can work together to develop these tokens. This is very different from the ICOs and it is very much legit because it's not not everybody can invest into it. These are task-based tokenizations. You are given tokens not based on fiat currency or any kind of cash component. The tokens are actually given on task-based, and that is kind of a barter system altogether. And it's very legit because end of the day, you're getting a task done, the task which are part of the gig economy, and folks have to upskill themselves to be part of the protocol. So certifying businesses and products, G06Q30/018, cryptographic mechanism arrangement, secret and secure communication, H04L9/50, network security protocol using hash chains like blockchains and hash trees. Perhaps we are, actually, I'm working on multiple languages, and still it's not open for the public, but as I said, one of my papers have it submitted, accepted. It should be in the public domain in next 10 days. So once it is there, I'll talk more in detail. The whole understanding here is we are going to invest a lot in terms of developing those protocols in next 90 days, because we are trying to do that in multiple ways, and getting the operators on board to understand what it means to develop these kind of hash trees on the blockchain. So the financial cryptography electronic payment or eCash is H04L2209/56. So, okay, right now, I already talked about it. I generally don't like the word engine. I generally have replaced anywhere where I see engine as modules. Modules is okay. I have a question from YouTube. Like the ocean sound. Okay, it's funny. But yes, the answer is yes. And ocean sound also with different wavelengths, and particularly during the evening time. Okay. So we are talking about the engine. We don't really like to use the word engine. We utilize it or use the word module. It's much broader. It has more capacity in terms of the understanding and the compression technology which can be utilized for the same. Okay, this is done. Ad model is totally broken. I mean, these many products are not even needed right now in the market. Okay, so right now what is happening is looking at the social interaction of the candidates in the online world, a lot of things are pushed to the candidate. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, again, that's a question mark, because just being online for those many hours, it creates another kind of ripple effect. So that is something which needs to be looked into. Okay, what can be done when we talk about tokenization is creating small tokens for the task, which is unique data set, and store the data in a secure encrypted hash on a blockchain. And particularly, a part of the tokenization can be for the public, uh, to get the things done in a fast, speedy manner, and that can actually increase the GDP of the countries also. So this is something I wanted to discuss, and we are good with this. The rest all things probably I'll discuss in the next video. Thank you for watching this out. Have a great day ahead.